Hello everybody, this is Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and I'm here with Valen Vergara, and he just authored the book, The People, Planet, Profit Entrepreneur. It's an award-winning book. Great read, by the way. I very much recommend it. And I wanted to ask you, Valen, can you tell our viewers a bit about yourself, and what do you do and why?
Yeah, so I'm a social entrepreneur, and in case you're not familiar with what that is for the viewers as well, that's a socially conscious entrepreneur that follows the people, planet, profit business model, of course, as seen on the book. And so the reason why I say socially conscious is just that. Profit is important, but it actually comes last. Sustainability and relational capital always comes first, and in that order. And as well as when it comes to profit isn't just currency. It's not just cash or money. It's actually all sorts of profit or return, right? Return on effort, return on all different kinds of things, not just money. But definitely that's the order that I follow. And the reason why I got involved and wrote this book was actually I started off as a nonprofit director. So I have a nonprofit, and that's actually what I got involved in long before I ever got into business. It was all about trying to affect change in a sustainable way, and reaching out to the masses and showing them that you can both be an entrepreneur and actually care for the environment and for people, and not do it the old cutthroat way. So that's sort of the reason why I wrote the book, and why I consider myself a social entrepreneur.
Well, and what do you think would be the number one reason people should read this book? Yeah,
so really what it all boils down to is starting off with mindset. And so most people don't realize what's really going on in the world. And so one of the first topics that I touch on is something called perception management. And once people tap into the concept of perception management, they can start to become manipulation proof. And so most people are actually under the control of unseen forces. For example, the way their minds being manipulated in society through mass media and other things like that. And so they can't gain control and influence over themselves or others, and so they are under control. So the very first thing is understanding perception management, which has to do with obviously personal branding, understanding how to present yourself, understanding how others are presenting themselves, and really using communication as a tool to tap into different mediums to get your message across. And so in the book, I talk about how to start your own society and a movement inside of this society, and gain support for just about anything that you're passionate about. Any purpose-driven initiative that you have. The book will teach you how to go into the micro, meso, which is the community level, and then the macro level, which is the societal level and beyond. How to tap into the critical mass and influence those levels as you go up. And by using communication and studying different mediums that are available to you. Video is just one medium, right? There's public speaking, there's books, there's blogging, all sorts of things. So that's what the book will show.
And it is very hard to break free from cognitive dissonance, and it is very hard today with mass media the way it is. I mean, I often say that you don't need to rig an election anymore, because the media will just tell you who to vote for, you know? And it's gotten to that point where, yes, it's very difficult for people to become individuals and, come to an understanding of themselves other than what they've been told to understand about themselves, you know?
Exactly.
And what kind of, or as an investor, how do you feel about the current crisis elapsing with the Chinese stock markets? Because this is really big right now, and it's worrying a lot of people.
Yeah, basically on the global economy and how things are really going. Like everyone's talking about the government, who to vote for and who's in charge. The biggest thing that it all relies on is the monetary system and how the monetary system works. I don't really discuss that too much, but one of the things that I've found in my studies is that until the monetary system is reformed and it's done in a way that actually supports sustainability so that people can actually have a fair exchange going on. And it's based more on value, like actual value, commodities. Until then, honestly, what happens in the global economy will just rinse and repeat again and again.
Sure.
Like it's hard to really reverse what's going on right now, especially if you're not aware of what's going on and you're actually entrapped in like, you know, the trappings of the economy and trying to just survive. It's nearly impossible to.
It's hard to really work with what we have today without kind of even just building from scratch all over again, you know?
Exactly.
It's hard to tell what direction we're heading these days with the current world order, so it's called. In some areas, people are leaning more towards collectivism, while in other areas, we see individualism truly starting to grow. What do you think we're heading in today's marketplace? What direction do you think? And it seems actual capitalism has become a relic of the past.
Yeah, so I can actually really speak into that. There's a number of models that I follow, and you know, for the viewers, like, you're going to want to write this model down. It's called the Claire Gray's values model, and so it actually is a model that is based loosely off of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Oh yeah.
And so everyone knows the triangle. We forced to look at that triangle.
Yeah.
You know, in the school system. But the real thing that's going on there, what Claire Graves did is he studied positive psychology. So Claire Graves studied two things: growth and deficiency needs. So it was based off of more deficient growth. So you needed to first meet one level of survival before you can go to the next, and if you can't, you stay on that level of survival and you can't flourish or reach self-actualization.
Absolutely.
So with Claire Gray's values model, it's a macro model about individualism and collectivism. So it starts, there's basically 8 levels, but we'll fast forward to past the survival or tribal level to the 3rd level. And the 3rd level talks about more coming together and sharpening your survival instincts and becoming an outlier. The number 4 level is actually the law and order level. So that's the 4th level. And so that's a collectivist level. And so actually the majority of society is on the 4th level, which is law and order. And so that's how, you know, everyone follows the rules. They don't step out of line from birth all the way till death. Most people stay in the 4th level. The 5th level in Claire Gray's model is the strive drive level. This is the American dream. This is success for the self. And most people think that's where it ends, the 5th level, and that's why most people get caught up in the monetary system or become enslaved to debt to it, because they're stuck on the desire to be in the 5th level. But there's actually 3 other levels, which I actually talk about in the book. The 6th level is the environmentalist level, where you equalize others. And that's sort of what we're entering into right now. People are tired of the 5th level, and we're moving now into more of a 5th level being sort of an individualist level. The 6th level is a collectivist level, where everyone equalizes others and wants freedom of speech, political correctness happens. That's the 6th level. The 7th level is when you use the 5th level, which is success and all the resources you have, and you understand about sustainability, and you come into the 7th level of macro management. This is where you actually build organizations, some of which we're a part of, like Freedom Force International.
Absolutely.
That's a 7th level organization where it's combined of people that are very successful, that understand sustainability, and now can align systems to work towards a positive change in the world. The 8th level is the top, level where it's the first time you can look back into all the previous levels, and the 8th level is now when you can change the world. This is like movements that change the world. Some of them are similar to, like, let's say change.org. Right, it's an 8th level platform where it's changing the world, and it uses everything that people that, let's say, the financial elite would use. They use it. So the direction the economy is going is, I follow a book. It's called the Pendulum. Right, so the pendulum talks about how every 40 years or so, there's a shift from individualism to collectivism. And so, as you know, we just are leaving the individualism era. And the one before that, as we all know, was the 60s and 70s. That was another individualism era where everyone was like, peace, love, let's be independent, let's express ourselves, right? And then we moved into the capitalist era for 40 years. And now the pendulum's swinging, and we're swaying now into an individualism era where people have personal power and decision-making control. Yeah. And so that's the era we're moving into as people like yourself and others are starting to become awake. So for the next about 30, 40 years, everyone is going to be focused on that government changes more to a liberal government, which just happened. And that's sort of what happens every 40 to 50 years. We swing on that pendulum. Yeah. So that's a long answer to your question.
Well, I mean, it definitely doesn't seem, though, like regardless of the party, that we're really moving in any direction other than the kind of collectivist values that it seems all parties seem to kind of hold up.
And, they always will.
And, and it does seem like we need to bring things back to the individual more than we're allowing ourselves to believe the government's going to do things for us. And I think it's really inspirational that you're going out there and, speaking your truth and doing things as an individual and not just waiting for someone else to do that for you. So what can people do and where can people go to get your book? And do you have any events coming up?
Yeah, actually I have a monthly event. It's called Everyday Investors United Manitoba. And so it has to do with collaborating with other investors and getting involved in the area of real estate. There's also a book launch that I have coming up when I'm back from my time away for about a month or so. That is going to be held on February 21st. Okay. And it's going to be hosted with 2 other local authors. And all similarly talking about individualistic values and how to assert control in your field of specialization. And
do you know where that will be and what time?
Yeah, so we're going to be having it at McNally's. And so there's one location in Winnipeg that I don't have the exact address, but it's if you Google it, you'll find it.
At Grant Park.
1120 Grant Avenue.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and so also, if you want to get my book, it's on Amazon. You can search The People, Planet, Profit, Entrepreneur.
I definitely suggest you do that. It's a great read. I went through it over the weekend, and I really enjoyed it. And he's also got a foreword by Dr. Yomi Garnett, who's an author and radio show host, of course, on Voice America. So I thank you very much for speaking with us, and I wish you the best of luck. And we will certainly be attending your event at McNally Robinson's, and we're looking forward to that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, great. Thank you.